1902 when we first discovered them. Alright, up on this hill on the right, there's a couple of animals. The light brown ones are called greater kudu, and you'll see them again in just a second, but on the other side of the hill are some bongo. It's a dark rust-colored animal. Oh, very cool, everyone. Over on the left, on the far left side of this area, lying down against that wall, there's a black rhino. You see it lying up there? Now, black rhinos are very large. They weigh on average 3,500 pounds and can typically charge up to 35 miles per hour. Now, rhinos are commonly poached for their tusks because, not tusks, their horns on their head. People think that these horns have some sort of scientific or medicinal value. This is false. They're made out of a material called keratin, which is the same material that your fingernails are made out of, so it's absolutely useless. Alright, those rust-colored animals are called bongos. They're typically nicknamed the ghost of the forest because of their very reclusive nature. They do not like to be seen and will typically use their camouflage to help hide from predators. Both males and females have horns on top of their head, with the males being much larger, usually around 36 inches long. They use those horns to help them move through the brush that they live in. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take us over into the Safi River, where we've seen a lot of aquatic wildlife the past few days. And now, before I picked you guys up, the warden told me to keep a lookout for shadows in the water, indicating there might be something out here. So, everybody keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you're going to find in these waters. While not in the water, it looks like there are a couple of Nile hippopotamus up on the shore over there. Now, Nile hippopotamus are very large creatures, being on average 5,500 pounds. They can stay underwater for up to 8 minutes at a time, even while sleeping. They are completely vegetarian, but they do have very large tusks in their mouth that they use for defense. Now, these tusks are self-sharpening. Every time they open and close their mouths, they sharpen. Now, there's some more hippos over on the left-hand side of the vehicle. Whenever you see a large group of hippos like this together, they're called a bloat of hippos. Now, these large gray and white birds over there on that island are called pinkback pelicans. Pinkback pelicans get their name from a distinct pink coloration that they get on their back during mating season. You can think of it almost like they're blushing. Alright, we're going to go ahead and slowly move around this corner. So keep your eyes out on the left in the water to see if there's any more animals out there. Looks like there's another hippo walking across right there. It looks like there's a mother hippo with her baby on the left down there. Now, baby hippos are between 50 and 100 pounds at birth. Hey guys, I do need you to stay fully seated while we're on the reserve. The gestation period for hippos is about 8 months, and they actually nurse completely underwater. Ooh, it looks like there's some Nile crocodile over here on the left. Now, the reason that they have their mouths open like that is they actually do that to regulate their body temperature, letting excess heat out of their mouth. Now, Nile crocodile are very large, being on average 15 feet long and around 300 pounds. They will typically attack anything they come across, including animals much larger than themselves, including wildebeest and zebra. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take us out onto the savannah now, where I've seen a lot of animal migration happening the past couple of days. So hopefully there'll still be some migration happening while we're out there. Alright, now coming up on the right-hand side of the vehicle, there's a baobab tree. Now, baobab trees are commonly referred to as upside-down trees due to the fact that it looks kind of like they're upside down. They are not upside down, however, those are its branches sticking up in the air. That tree will typically remain leafless for up to 9 months out of the year to help conserve water. Animals will typically walk up to that tree and fight it, trying to get water out of it. Now, the savanna is a very large ecosystem supporting a large variety of wildlife. Elephants will typically walk around bulldozing trees, knocking them over to eat them, and in doing so will allow room for more life to grow. Giraffes will typically use their long prehensile tongues to trim the underside of the trees and allow sunlight to shine through and allow the grass to grow underneath. The shorter hoofed animals will typically graze the grass and trim back the long grass, allowing more room on the safari for the animals to move around. All of this teamwork and working together creates a very successful ecosystem, which is why we typically see such a large variety of wildlife out here. Now over on the right, that is a Maasai giraffe. Those are the giraffes we typically see out here on the reserve, are Maasai giraffe. Now Maasai giraffe refers to their very irregular jagged coats that they have. Now very similar to human fingerprints, no two coats are the same. They are all completely unique for every animal in the species. Now over on the right you'll see some more giraffe. Whenever they're in a large group like that, they're called a tower of giraffe. Now giraffes are some of the tallest animals in the world, on average 18 to 20 feet tall. And they use that height as well as their long prehensile tongues to eat leaves off the trees, kind of like you see that one trying to do right there. Now despite their large height, they're actually capable of sprinting up to 35 miles per hour and can actually reach a very comfortable jog of around 20 miles per hour. Now I did mention that they are some of the tallest animals in the world. That stays true even when they're born. Giraffe calves are born at around 6 feet tall. That's taller than the average human male. Alright, now coming up, oh very cool guys, on the left hand side of the vehicle, there's some African wild dogs. Now African wild dogs are typically called painted dogs due to their very beautiful patterned coats. These are not related to the canines that humans tend to keep as pets, however. They're a completely different species altogether. They only have 4 toes on each paw instead of the normal 5. Now coming up on the left, there's a couple of Ankole cattle. Now Ankole cattle are commonly referred to as Watusi cattle for the tribe that first domesticated them, the Watusi tribe. Those great big horns on top of their head are actually mostly hollow. They have a honeycomb pattern inside of them that allows blood to flow freely through their horns. It helps cool them off when it's super hot out. Now far back on the left hand side in that grassy area are a couple of sable antelope. Now sable antelope are actually the official mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, showing up on our crest. They're known for those very large curved horns on top of their heads. Those horns are used for sparring amongst the males, as well as a deterrent for any predators that might want to jump on their back. Now you're going to notice some large rock-like structures around the vehicle right now. These are not rocks, those are actually termite mounds. Now these termite mounds are an average 15 feet tall and are as hard as concrete. Now some of the larger animals will typically use them as scratching posts, which is why the one over on the right hand side of the vehicle is so worn down. Now some of the smaller animals on the reserve will actually sit on top of them and use them as lookout posts while trying to look out for any predators. Now coming up on the left hand side of the vehicle there are a couple of brown antelope. These are called Patterson's eland. Now Patterson's eland are some of the largest antelope on the reserve, being on average 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing around 2,000 pounds. Despite this very large size, they're capable of leaping up to 8 feet into the air from a standstill. Alright, coming up on the right hand side of the vehicle, there's a very good view of a couple of giraffes. Now I'm going to be able to stop for just a moment for you guys, so if you want to take a picture, now would be the time. It looks like coming up on the right hand side of the vehicle there's a couple more giraffe. Over there it looks like it's not a baby, but it looks to be a little bit younger since it is very short. Alright, we're just going to let these animals cross the road really quick, and then once they're out of our way we'll continue on. Looks like we're good. Alright, now it looks like that giraffe is very close to the road. He's not on the road, so I'm going to move by him, but we're going to go very slowly by him. So we do not want to startle him. Very slowly, everyone. All right. There's a good view of those the younger one right there on the left. Now over on the right-hand side of the vehicle, there's a large group of animals lying down, darker animals. Those are called white-bearded wildebeest. And then the smaller brown animals up on top of the hill are called springbok. Now springbok get their name from their ability to spring repeatedly up to 6 feet into the air when they feel threatened. They're also some of the fastest creatures on the planet, able to run between 50 and 60 miles per hour, and they can leap between 10 and 16 feet in a single bound. Now the white-bearded wildebeest are some of the largest groups of migrating animals in the world. Up to 1.5 million of them will migrate between 500 and 1,000 miles across the savannah every year. Now I'm not seeing anything else in this area, so I'm going to take us around to a location we've been referring to as Monkey Point for the past couple of days due to a group of mandrills that's been spotted in the area. Now if we do see any mandrills, I do ask that you guys stay quiet because they are very shy creatures. They do not like noise. Alright, looks like there are some mandrills over on the left, if you guys see them really quick. Looks like some younger ones up on top as well as an adult one sitting down below. Over on the right, it looks like there's some African elephants. These look to be either a loose bachelor group or a very small herd of females. Now, male elephants actually are typically solitary of the species. They are kicked out of their family groups around the age of 15 years old and will only rejoin family groups for mating purposes or forming loose bachelor groups to stick together with. The large herds of elephants that we'll see out on the savannah are actually all female, with the exception of having young males with them. Looks like there's another good view of an African elephant. Looks like the road I was going to take is being blocked by him, so they have it closed. I think I remember an old bridge up around the corner that might still be here. It's been a really long time since I used it, so we'll see if it's still here. Looks like the bridge is still here, but it looks rather rickety, just being held together with some steel cable. You guys think we should cross it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, let's go. We're gonna go poly-poly, which means slowly. And we're good. Let's get out of here, everyone. I'm seeing a lot of red clay in the area, which is a good sign if you're looking for elephants. Yeah, I'm seeing some elephant tracks up here, as well as some tusk marks on the right. Now, the reason you see these tusk marks is elephants will typically scrape the clay off with their tusks into piles on the ground, and then pick it up and eat it. They eat it like a vitamin. It helps complete their daily nutritional value that they need. Elephants can eat up to 300 pounds of food a day. But that being said, adult males are on average 12,000 pounds. So when you really think about it, 300 pounds of food is not a whole lot for them at all. I think there's a better place to see the elephants around up here. So, yep, there's some more. Looks like to be a large herd of them out here. I'm going to be able to stop for just a moment for you guys. So if you want to take any pictures, now would be the chance. Now, elephants have no natural predators, but they do face two very large threats from this same species. Does anybody know what that is? It is humans, everyone. Humans will typically poach elephants for their ivory tusks, as well as they cause a significant amount of habitat destruction for these beautiful creatures. The habitat destruction comes from mining companies looking for a material called coltan. Coltan is a rare metal that's used in the production of electronic devices such as cell phones, as well as computers. If you want to help reduce the amount of habitat destruction these creatures face, I would suggest recycling any old unused electronics you may have. This will help recycling companies get the old coltan out of the devices and recycle it into new ones, thus reducing the demand for new coltan. and help conserving these beautiful creatures' habitats. Now coming up on the left-hand side of the vehicle, there are some greater flamingo. Now greater flamingo have a very distinct light pink coloration. They get that coloration from the brine shrimp that they eat, which has a mineral in it called beta-carotene. The younger ones are typically grayish white coloration, and just because the beta-carotene hasn't seeped into their feathers yet. Whenever you see large groups of flamingos like this all together, they're called a flamboyance of flamingos. Ooh, looks like there's some white rhino out here. Looks like to be a big group of them. Whenever you see this many white rhino together, they're referred to as a crash of rhino. Now, white rhinos do not get their name from their coloration. They actually get their name from a mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word "veit," meaning wide, referring to their wide lips that they use for grazing. Now, similar to the black rhino, these rhinos can get charging up to 35 miles per hour, but they are much larger creatures. They are on average 5,000 pounds as adults. Alright, keep your eyes out over on the left-hand side. We see a lot of animals liking to lie underneath these trees when it's super sunny out like it is to help escape the heat. I'm not seeing anything at the moment. So let's go ahead and keep moving around this corner right here. Oh guys, I'm seeing some copy rocks up ahead, which are notorious for predators. Predators such as lions will typically sit on top of these copy rocks to help keep a lookout over the savanna for hunting purposes. Well, there is a lion up there. I'm going to take us around these rocks because I think there's a better place to see them from over here. Yep, looks to be there's a male lion and a female lion lying up there on those copy rocks. Now, lions will typically remain inactive like this for up to 20 hours out of the day. They typically are more active during the nighttime hours. There's very successful nocturnal hunters, having 6 times better night vision than humans do during the nighttime. They also have very special pads on their paws that allow them to move almost completely silently. Now, the female lions of the groups are actually the ones that will do most of the hunting. The males typically stay back and are more commonly stay-at-home dads than anything else. They take care of the cubs while the females are out hunting. Now, coming up on the left-hand side of the vehicle, it looks like there's a warthog lying down. Now, warthogs are actually burrowing creatures. They use their razor-sharp tusks to burrow into the ground. Now, whenever they feel threatened, they will typically back into those burrows and display their tusks. They do this as a defense mechanism, and if you ever see a warthog doing that, you do not want to mess with it because they've been known to fend off adult male lions. Now, these beautiful brown creatures right here are called bontebok. Now, bontebok were once hunted nearly to extinction for their beautiful brown coats. At one time, there were only 20 left on the entire planet. That's less than the amount of people we have on this truck right now. But luckily, a group of farmers in East Africa took them onto their farms and started protecting them, and they've made a remarkable comeback. You will, however, only see them on reserves such as this one. They do not appear in the wild anymore. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this turn right here and move us over into the Magadi Glen, which I've seen some animal migration happening in the past couple days, so with any luck, there'll still be some in here. Alright, right off the bat, I do see a yellow-billed stork up on top of this hill to the right. Now, that is not a description of that animal, that is its actual name. Yellow-billed storks are actually carnivores. They will typically eat anything that they can fit inside of that beak. Most commonly, small snakes, insects, as well as every once in a while other small creatures. Alright, it looks like we're coming back to the Warden's Post, which is where I'll be dropping you guys off, everyone. But Hakuna Matata, that means no worries. There's still plenty to do here around Harambe. If anybody wants to get more up close and personal animal encounters, we do have the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails right nearby, which offers you a chance at seeing animals such as gorillas, meerkats, as well as an underwater viewing area for hippos. If anybody wants to learn more about conservation, we have Rafiki's Planet Watch nearby, which is just a short train trip away. There they have an animal veterinary hospital, an animal science center, where they'll do routine veterinary checkups on wildlife, as well as the petting zoo, and a couple of character meet and greets, such as Doc McStuffins and, as the name suggests, Rafiki. If you want to help with the cause of conservation, we do have the Disney Conservation Fund, which you can donate any amount of money to you want, and the company will match it dollar for dollar. Looks like we're getting close to the village. I can hear some music playing. Now here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye, as it is much too final and sad. We like to say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, everyone, go well, go wild, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.